December 6, 2017. Trump shockingly warns Putin either God will win, or I will die. A stunning Ministry of Foreign Affairs MOFA report circulating in the Kremlin today detailing the agenda of Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson for their meetings tomorrow in Vienna, during the summit of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe (OSCE), states that the priority item heading the list for discussion is President Donald Trump's declaration of war decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and reveals that Trump had previously related to President Putin that he had no choice to do as he needed divine protection to protect himself and his nation from satanic forces, and who bluntly warned either God will win, or I will die. According to this report, on 21 November, President Putin and President Trump had a lengthy discussion wherein America's new leader congratulated Putin for saving Russia by turning it back to God, and that was solidified by Putin, a few days later, by his calling for a return to traditional values and becoming the first Russian leader to call for tighter relations between the Kremlin and the Orthodox Church, in a move hailed by His Holiness Patriarch Kirill as an historic event. President Trump, also, this report continues, informed President Putin that he was going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, with his explaining that he was doing so because of an Old Testament Torah biblical verse that says, "And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed," which Trump said he needed the divine protection of as his deep state satanic aligned enemies were seeking to destroy him, and his grimly telling Putin either God will win, or I will die. President Trump's fears that he faces death for his turning America back to God, this report says, are not being exaggerated, and as best exampled, just days ago by the deep state-aligned mainstream propaganda news network MSNBC, openly fantasizing about Trump being hanged with a noose around his neck, and his entire family, also, being sent to prison for the rest of their lives. To President Trump's fears that America and the West are being overcome by satanic powers, this report says, is, also, shockingly true, and as just evidenced this past week alone by the deep state-aligned propaganda mainstream media slamming Trump for his daring to say the words Merry Christmas and praising the birth of Jesus Christ, a leading Church of England clergyman calling for prayers so young Prince George will become homosexual and find love of young gentlemen, Hollywood just declaring as its best picture for 2017 a movie celebrating the homosexuality of minor children, and Hillary Clinton now being celebrated as being an angel. With the billionaire tech giants in America now being revealed to be performing satanic sexual rituals to get in touch with their souls, this report continues, the most disturbing evidence showing how much the U.S. has come under the sway of Satan was demonstrated this past week, and was when former President Barack Obama, as one of the deep state leaders seeking to destroy President Trump, flew to Paris to meet with the Les Napoleons organization, which is a peculiarly named French communications network comprised of globalist elites seeking the destruction of America and all Western Christian values. With former American UN Ambassador John Bolton now shockingly proclaiming that President Trump is being confronted with the first attempted coup d'état in U.S. history, this report details, the deep state war to destroy Trump has descended into a travesty of justice, with it now being said that Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation is nothing more than a semblance of law enforcement disguising the brute reality that Trump is being punished for winning the election and defying Obama policy, and that, stunningly, even the rabidly anti-Trump propaganda newspaper The Washington Post agrees with, and who have just proclaimed a new special counsel needs to investigate the FBI and Justice Department. Now, as to what drove even the leftist Washington Post to side with President Trump against the deep state, this report explains, was Special Counsel Mueller, this past week, charging former National Security Director General Michael Flynn with a crime for lying to the FBI called the perjury trap of the century, specifically to the now disgraced former FBI counterintelligence chief Peter Strzok. The grave crime committed by Special Counsel Mueller in his filing charges against General Flynn, this report explains, was his failing to inform Flynn that his accuser, Strzok, had been removed from the case for violating both U.S. law and FBI procedures, which is a gross Giglio violation that could very well result in the disbarment of Mueller and had been established as U.S. constitutional law, in 1972, by the U.S. Supreme Court, who in their Giglio v. United States decision declared that actions such as Mueller's, in his not informing Flynn about what Strzok had done, meant that no charges against an accused could stand. With absolutely no proof that President Trump ever colluded with Russia, but with enough proof to fill volumes that Trump's officials colluded with Saudi Arabia and colluded with Israel, this report continues, the deep state having chosen Russia to attack Trump with is destroying America's reputation the world over, as by the day it more resembles a banana republic than a free democracy, especially due to Trump's retaliation against all of these Western globalists opposing him, and that has led Germany to just declare. The global dominance of the United States is slowly becoming history. The withdrawal of the United States under Donald Trump from its reliable role as a guarantor of Western-led multilateralism accelerates a change of the world order with immediate consequences for German and European interests. Germany can no longer simply react to U.S. policy but must establish its own position even after Trump leaves the White House. Relations with the U.S. will never be the same. This report concludes by noting that even though President Trump is still engaged in a deadly war against his nation's deep state to free America from the satanic forces seeking its destruction, his cooperation with Russia to free the Christian peoples of Syria shows his truest character, and whom, in less than a year since his taking power, has just enabled Armed Forces Chief of Staff General Valery Gerasimov to declare all terrorist units of ISIS on Syrian soil have been destroyed, and the territory is liberated. And whom President Putin, also, intends to keep fully supporting, and is why, just hours ago, he announced his plan to run for office again, with the hope being that both he and Trump can, indeed, make the world great again.